I once met with a Cloverdale homeowner who was planning to spend nearly $80,000 renovating their home before putting it on the market. And honestly, I told them not to. Now that sounds strange coming from a realtor. You think I'd want every home looking as updated as possible. But after helping hundreds of families buy and sell homes throughout Surrey, Cloverdale, Langley, South Surrey, and White Rock, I've learned something important. Some renovations add values, some renovations add very little value, and some renovations actually cost the sellers money. So, if you're thinking about selling your home in the next year or two, stick around because today I'm going to walk through the biggest renovation mistakes homeowners are making before selling their homes and what I do instead. Hi everyone, it's Greg Holmes here with the Holmes Real Estate Team. One of the most common questions we get from homeowners is, Greg, what should we renovate before we sell? And the answer is almost never what people expect. Let's dive into the 5 biggest mistakes we see sellers making. Mistake number 1, renovating for yourself instead of the next owner. This first mistake is renovating based on your own tastes. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're planning to stay in your home for another 10 years, absolutely, make it the way you want. But if you're planning to sell in the near future, your goal changes. I see people install very specific design choices because they love them. Bold colors, unique tile selections, very modern features, highly customized spaces. The problem is that buyers don't all share the same tastes. The goal isn't to make 10 buyers love your home. The goal is to make 100 buyers like your home. The broader the appeal, the larger your pool becomes. And that's why neutral colors, clean finishes, and timeless design choices tend to perform so well. Buyers want to picture themselves living there. The easier that is, the better your results. Now, mistake number 2, it's that $50,000 kitchen renovation. This is probably the most expensive mistake. A homeowner decides their kitchen is dated, so they replace the cabinets, the countertops, the backsplash, the appliance, the flooring, and before they know it, they've spent tens of thousands of dollars. Now here's the reality. Buyers absolutely care about kitchens, but they rarely pay dollar for dollar for those improvements. In fact, sometimes a much smaller investment creates almost the same impact. Maybe the cabinets get painted. Maybe the hardware gets replaced. Maybe the new lighting is installed. Maybe you add quartz counters while leaving the existing cabinet layout intact. The kitchen looks dramatically better without the massive expense. The question isn't, how much can I improve this room? The question is, what's the most cost-effective improvement I can make? Those are very different questions. Mistake number 3 is ignoring the boring stuff. This is where things get interesting. Let's say a homeowner spends thousands making the property beautiful. Fresh paint, new flooring, updated fixtures, making everything look fantastic. Then the home inspection happens. And the buyer learns the roof is nearing its end of life. Or the hot water tank is 20 years old. Or the furnace is original. Or there's drainage concerns. Suddenly, nobody is talking about the beautiful paint color anymore. They're now negotiating repairs. And one thing we've learned over the years is that buyers don't just buy homes, they buy confidence. And deferred maintenance creates uncertainty. Sometimes the smartest investment isn't glamorous at all. Sometimes it's simply fixing the things buyers are worried about. Mistake number 4 is overimproving for the neighborhood. Let's talk about something many homeowners don't realize. Every neighborhood has a value range. If most homes in your area are selling around a certain price point, spending an enormous amount on luxury upgrades doesn't automatically move your home into the next category. Buyers are still looking at the neighborhood, the lot, the location, the school catchments, the surrounding homes. Value is determined much more than the renovation budget. This is why we always encourage clients to look at what buyers are actually paying for similar homes nearby. The market determines value, not renovation receipts. Mistake number 5 is waiting too long to ask for advice, and this one might be the most important. Sometimes we get called right after the work is done, and occasionally we look around and think like, I wish we'd seen this property 6 months ago. Not because the renovations aren't nice, but because there may have been a much better way to invest that money. Every property is different, every neighborhood is different, every market is different. A renovation strategy that makes sense in one home may not make sense in the other. That's why we always recommend getting advice before making those major decisions, even if you're not planning to sell immediately. So, if we were preparing a typical Fraser Valley home for sale today, where would we focus? Well, first, decluttering. Second, a deep clean. Third, paint where it's needed. And fourth, addressing obvious maintenance concerns. And fifth, staging and presentation. Honestly, those 5 things alone often create some of the biggest improvements in buyer perception. And buyer perception drives confidence far more often than the homeowner realizes. So before you spend 20, 50, or 100 grand renovating your home, take a step back and ask yourself, will buyers actually pay me for this? Sometimes the answer is yes, but often the answer is not as much as you'd think. If you're wondering what improvements make sense for your particular home, reach out to us at the Holmes Real Estate Team. We're always happy to walk through the property, give you honest feedback, and help you focus your money where it will have the biggest impact. And if you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, leave a comment below telling us what renovation project you've been considering, and we'll see you in the next video.